So hey guys, I'm back again, codeStarter here, and so far this is our amazing cheese block. Right now still looks terrible, but you can start to see it coming along. You can start to see it look a bit nicer. We got a bit of color, which is always nice, a nice background, and a way better font. And so far, this is all the code that we have right here. And yeah, so let's add another post here. So I'm gonna make another paragraph. Um, yeah. So I'm gonna add another H4. I'm gonna say, cheese tasting in Paris. Alrighty. And then I'm just gonna have some and here. So say you're developing, but you don't have any content yet, and you need some filler text just to fill some space. I recommend a website called lipsum.com or lorem ipsum, and this is just filler text. So this is just random Latin text or something no one really knows, no one really cares. Everyone just uses it to fill some random space because we don't really have a post yet. So we're just going to create a paragraph inside of our post paragraph, and we're just going to have that there. And yeah, so this is just random filler text. Like, no one even knows what that means. What does that mean? No one knows. If you know what it means, comment, because I have no idea. So now we just have this random filler text and cheese tasting in Paris. So we don't actually need to add this other second paragraph tab because you don't really want a paragraph within a paragraph. That doesn't make any sense. And it's adding that second space, so I don't really like that. So, never mind. Alright, so say I want this H4 right here to be a nice purple color. So, I'd go here and I'd do H4 and I'd do color is equal to purple. Yeah, wouldn't you do that too? I would do that. So when we reload, this color's purple, but this H4's color is also purple. And we don't want that. We only want this H4 colors to be purple. So we run into a problem. Luckily, there's an easy fix to that, and this is a second thing I'm going to teach you. This is slightly more advanced, but still pretty basic. So in this H4 right here, my favorite cheeses, let's add, sorry, I'm just going to clean this up a bit. Let's add another attribute. This attribute I'm going to call ID. And same way you make attributes, ID equals mark, and then two quotes. So we're going to make this ID, we're going to call it H4 and then _1. So this is going to be our first ID, H41, because this is the first H4 on our page, and its ID is H41. What does this mean? This means that we can identify this with CSS. And the way you do that is you use the £, and then the ID that you use. A £, plus ID. So here, the £, and then the ID, which is H41. And then, curly braces, and then you can do the color is equal to purple. And we can delete that right there. In fact, we can delete all of that right there. So now, let's reload the page. And only this color is going to be purple, and not that one. So that's what an ID is. It identifies an element so that you can use it with CSS, you can use it with JavaScript, you can use it with probably other programming languages too. But CSS is the most common one. So you can target different IDs. But say you want you decide that you want, okay, say you have another H4, and this is random H4, and you want this H4 to also be purple, but you don't want this one to be purple. So, you'd say, oh, I'll just set the ID to H41 because that's what this H4 is. That's what that ID is. Except that it works, except it's not considered right. It's wrong. You don't want to do that because that messes stuff up with JavaScript and Google's bots that look on your web page. They'll get confused. They'll be like, why are there two things with the same ID? It's like you don't have the same social security number as someone else. It's different so that the government can identify you, so jobs can identify you. So that's why you have that's why you have a unique social security number. So that's why we don't want to add two IDs to two different elements. What you're going to want to do is you want to have one ID per element. What I could do is make this ID H42, so that way they have unique IDs. Except that, then I'd have to write, H42 here and write the same thing. So, the goal of every programmer is to write more code less. That's the jQuery mottos, but it's true. What we can do is we can change. I'm going to give you another attribute. This one's class. So class. And we can, here, I'm going to make a new class. I'm going to call it H4 purple. And since I want those two to be purple, I'm going to call them H4 purple. Now what this does is it targets every, and sorry, I forgot to change that. Class H4 purple. What this does is that now CSS targets every class that has the H4 of purple after I write in that piece of code. And JavaScript knows that that's a class. That means that there can be more than one of those. And Google knows that there's more than one of those too, because classes, it's illegal to have more than one. ID is for unique. Classes are for classes. So you have, I hope that makes sense. And the way you target classes is by doing a dot plus class name. So our class is H4 purple. And then when we reload, why did it not work? That is sorry about that, guys. It wasn't working because I forgot to save the document. It's always important to save so that you don't lose a whole bunch of code and so that your changes actually take place. If your changes aren't taking place, try saving and then reloading. So now you can see both are purple. Now you can see here that H4, that they both have the same class. And right now it doesn't seem that important. You're probably confused why you can't just use IDs, but I'll go more into that way later when we start doing JavaScript, because that's when it becomes way more apparent why you need to do IDs. So yeah, let's move on. All right. Let's see. So now with this in mind, with whole classes, IDs, and all that stuff, we're going to rewrite all of this. So we're still going to have H3, a blog about thing, except I'm going to introduce another element. Yep, another element. So I'm going to delete this. In fact, I'm going to delete all of this and rewrite this with the new element I'm going to teach you. This element is super important. I mean, yeah, this is a really important element. It's called div. And it's a block element, and it holds a ton of content. It's like basically a thing to hold information. And we'll give it a class of post, because we're going to have, this is going to be a post right here. Then we're going to have another div. I'm also going to give it the class of post. And we'll close that. So now we have two posts. In these posts, we're going to have an H2 I'm gonna write cheese tasting in Paris. And here we're gonna have an H2. We're gonna write cheese tasting. No, sorry. My favorite cheeses. Yum. And then in this second one, we're gonna have the image. And remember, we had the source, and it's gonna be an image/image.cheese.jpg, which is that image right there. And in cheese tasting in Paris, we're gonna have a paragraph, and we're just gonna grab some lorem ipsum because I didn't actually go cheese tasting in Paris from there, and I'm just gonna put that in there like so. Alright, that's fine. And let's reload the page. Cheese tasting in Paris, and then the lorem ipsum. And remember how in our main.css we targeted the image and made that width and height 200 by 400. So say we want to have another post with another image. Div class is equal to post. Now I'll show you why I keep on writing div class is equal to post in a moment. H2 will make this cheese nachos, and let's download a picture. I'll be right. So I downloaded a picture of cheese nachos from Google Images, and I saved it in the image file. So image and then cheese nachos. That's what I called it. Generally, you don't want to add spaces though. Let's see if that'll work. You see, that didn't work because you don't want to add spaces when you save your images. Yeah, so here I'll show you. Let's go to my Explorer. Let's go to desktop. Let's scroll down all the way to web, and then image, and you see I got cheese nachos. I'm gonna rename it to cheese underscore nachos, because if you add spaces, it messes stuff up. So you don't want to add spaces, and I forgot to add the .jpg, and you should always do that. And let's see, there we go, we got our cheese nachos, except these two images are the same size. Why? Because they're both images, and it's in the main.css I targeted all images. But say I want cheese nachos to be a different height. Well, luckily I can add an ID. I'll make it cheese nachos, and in main.css I can do hashtag cheese nachos, and here I can say the height. So I want it to be only 200. Oh, it's the same. I want it 250 pixels, and then the width to be 500 pixels. So I want it to be a bit bigger, cause yeah. And you see there, I can change the different sizes of the things. So right now it still doesn't really look like a blog. It looks kind of messed up. I don't really like it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna satisfy your curiosity. Remember, we named all those divs classes. We named all the classes of those divs post. So we can do dot post. Did we name it post? Let me check. Yeah, we named it post. So we do dot post because it's a class, and for classes we do dots. For IDs we do pound signs. So dot post, and I'm gonna introduce a new tag, and I'm gonna call it border. That's a new property of a CSS property. I'm gonna do 1 pixel. We're gonna make the border 1 pixel. We'll make it solid. You could also do dotted, but we're gonna make it solid, and we're gonna make it black. So this is gonna add a 1 pixel solid black border around all posts, like so. And now you can see why we did that. But it looks kind of messed up, so under each post, we're going to add a break rule. Sorry. And here, we're going to add a break rule. And let's look at it again. Sorry. And there, under each post is a break rule. And in fact, let's do one more thing before I have to end this, and that's setting the background color of a post. And we're going to make this white. So now each post has a white background, has a 1 pixel solid border around it, and we have 2 different pictures, and we have a nice paragraph about cheese tasting in Paris. Thank you guys for watching. Please like, comment, subscribe, ask questions, email me. I put my email in the description always. Thank you guys so much for watching. Adios.